No, because I really have had a lot of funny things mailed to me. Early on, some very embarrassing things.
I do consider myself an abused wife. I loved him very much. I took on this feeling of being the savior.
Loni Anderson, the golden-haired beauty who made millions fall in love with her on WKRP in Cincinnati, has left us forever. Just one day before her 80th birthday, the television icon passed away, marking the end of an era that defined comedy and glamour in American television. What secrets did her final years hold? And how did this small-town girl from Minnesota become one of TV's most unforgettable stars? Let's get into the remarkable story of a woman who proved that behind every pretty face lies an incredible mind and unbreakable spirit. A small-town girl with big dreams. Loni Anderson was born in St. Paul, Minnesota on August 5, 1945, the daughter of Clayton Carl Andy Anderson, an environmental chemist, and Maxine Hazel, a one-time model. Growing up in the quiet suburbs of Roseville, Minnesota, young Loni was already turning heads before she could even spell Hollywood. In 1963, Loni was voted Queen of the Valentine's Day Winter Formal during her last year at Alexander Ramsey Senior High, a sign of things to come. Her father almost made a decision that could have changed everything. As she shared in her autobiography, he originally planned to name her Loni, but then realized that teenagers might twist it into something inappropriate. So he settled on just Loni, a choice that would one day be on television screens across America. After high school, Loni attended the University of Minnesota, but the call of acting was too strong to ignore. She wasn't content with small-town life or following the traditional path. While other girls her age were thinking about marriage and settling down, Loni had bigger plans. She wanted to act, to perform, to make people laugh and feel something real. The early years weren't easy, and they shaped the woman she would become in ways few could imagine. Like many aspiring actors, she faced rejection after rejection. Casting directors would look at her and see only a pretty face, not understanding that behind those sparkling eyes was a sharp mind and natural comic timing. She took small roles, did commercials, and kept pushing forward even when the industry tried to put her in a box. Her first real taste of show business came through local theater productions in Minneapolis. She performed in community theater, dinner theater, and any small venue that would give her a chance to hone her craft. These weren't glamorous gigs, often performed in converted warehouses or church basements, but they taught her the fundamentals of comedy timing and connecting with an audience. It was during this time that she developed the work ethic that would serve her throughout her career. She would rehearse for hours, studying not just her own lines, but understanding how every character fit into the story. She learned makeup techniques, studied how lighting affected her appearance on stage, and even helped with set construction when needed. This hands-on experience gave her a deep appreciation for every aspect of production. The move to Los Angeles in the early 1970s was both terrifying and exhilarating. She arrived with little money, a small apartment in North Hollywood, and determination that refused to quit. Like thousands of other hopeful actors, she waited tables between auditions, took odd jobs to pay rent, and faced the daily reality that success might never come. What happened next would change television forever. In 1978, something magical happened. The creators of a new sitcom called WKRP in Cincinnati were looking for someone special to play Jennifer Marlowe, the radio station's receptionist. They needed someone who could be beautiful but not empty-headed, someone who could command respect while wearing high heels and looking like a movie star. The producers selected her after seeing a swimsuit poster that evoked Farrah Fawcett, noting her resemblance to Jane Mansfield combined with Monroe-style innocence. But Loni wasn't interested in playing just another pretty face. She had conditions. She insisted that Jennifer Marlowe be smart, capable, and in control. Jennifer is very clear about what her job does and does not entail. She does not take dictation, type letters, or make or get coffee. This was Loni making a statement about how women should be portrayed on television. The show ran from 1978 to 1982, and during those 4 years, Loni Anderson became a household name. Jennifer Marlowe was the smartest person in the room, often solving problems that the men couldn't figure out. She earned the highest salary at the station, commanded respect from everyone, and never let anyone treat her like she was just decoration. As sexy but smart Jennifer Marlowe on the sitcom WKRP in Cincinnati, the ravishing star created a character that was both glamorous and empowered. Women across America saw themselves in Jennifer, not just her beauty but her confidence, her intelligence, and her refusal to be underestimated. The role earned her 3 Golden Globe nominations and 2 Emmy Award nominations, proving that she wasn't just a pretty face, but a talented actress who could hold her own with the best in the business. But the success of WKRP brought unexpected challenges that tested her in ways she never anticipated. The price of television fame. Becoming famous through television in the late 1970s was different from movie stardom. Television actors were welcomed into people's homes every week, becoming almost like family members. This intimacy created a unique kind of celebrity, one where fans felt they personally knew the stars they watched. For Loni, this meant that Jennifer Marlowe's popularity translated into intense public interest in her personal life. Suddenly, her dating choices, her fashion decisions, and even her grocery shopping trips became subjects of fascination. The woman who had worked so hard to be taken seriously as an actress found herself constantly photographed and analyzed. The transformation was both thrilling and overwhelming. She went from struggling to pay rent to being recognized everywhere she went. Magazine covers featured her image, and suddenly everyone wanted to interview the beautiful blonde from WKRP. But with fame came pressure she hadn't expected. Television producers and casting directors began offering her roles specifically designed around her WKRP image. They wanted her to play variations of Jennifer Marlowe, beautiful, glamorous, but ultimately supporting characters to male leads. This typecasting frustrated Loni, who had trained as a serious actress and wanted to explore different kinds of roles. She also faced the double standard that many attractive actresses encountered. Critics would focus more on her appearance than her performance, dismissing her comedic skills as simply being pretty on camera. This criticism stung, especially since she had worked so hard to develop Jennifer Marlowe as a fully realized character rather than just eye candy. The constant attention also affected her personal relationships. Dating became complicated when every potential romance became tabloid fodder. Men she met were sometimes more interested in her celebrity status than in knowing her as a person. Others were intimidated by her fame or uncomfortable with the public scrutiny that came with being seen with her. Despite these challenges, Loni remained professional and gracious with fans and media. She understood that her success depended partly on public goodwill, and she genuinely appreciated the people who watched the show. But privately, she was learning to navigate a world where privacy was a luxury she could rarely afford. Being beautiful and famous in Hollywood during the 1980s meant living under a microscope. Every relationship, every outfit, every public appearance was analyzed and criticized. Loni's personal life became tabloid fodder, especially when she began dating one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Her relationship with Burt Reynolds became one of the most talked-about romances of the decade. Reynolds was at the height of his fame, starring in movies like Smokey and the Bandit and The Cannonball Run. When they got together, it was like Hollywood royalty had been born. They married in 1988, and their wedding was a media circus. Photographers camped outside, reporters followed their every move, and the public couldn't get enough of the golden couple. They seemed perfect together, the handsome movie star and the beautiful television actress. But behind the glamorous photos and red carpet appearances, their relationship was complicated. Both were strong personalities used to being the center of attention. The pressure of constant media scrutiny took its toll. Every argument became headline news. Every disagreement was analyzed by entertainment reporters. They had a son together, Quentin, but even that happy event was overshadowed by media attention. Loni found herself constantly defending her choices as a mother, her career decisions, and her marriage. The woman who had played such a confident character on television was struggling with the reality of life in the public eye. Their divorce in 1994 was messy and public. What should have been a private family matter became entertainment for millions. The legal battles, the custody arrangements, the division of assets, it all played out in newspapers and magazines across the country. The divorce proceedings revealed details that showed just how complicated their relationship had been. Financial disputes arose over property, career earnings, and support arrangements. The custody battle for their son Quentin became particularly painful. with both parents wanting what was best for their child while dealing with their own hurt and anger. Media coverage of the divorce was relentless and often unfair to both parties. Tabloids published stories based on rumors and half-truths, creating a narrative of their relationship that was more fiction than fact. Loni found herself having to defend not just her actions during the marriage, but her character as a person and mother. The emotional toll was enormous. She had invested years in a relationship that she believed would last forever, only to watch it crumble in the most public way possible. The woman who had always been seen as glamorous and put together was now dealing with heartbreak, legal stress, and constant media scrutiny, all at the same time. Friends from this period described her as remarkably resilient despite the circumstances. Even while dealing with lawyers, court appearances, and media attention, she continued working and caring for her children. She refused to let the divorce define her or destroy her career, though there were undoubtedly moments of deep despair. The experience taught her valuable lessons about relationships, fame, and personal strength. She learned that even the most public relationships ultimately came down to private moments between two people, and that no amount of external glamour could fix internal problems. She also discovered reserves of strength she didn't know she possessed. The aftermath would test everything she thought she knew about herself. Beyond the headlines and heartbreak, after her high-profile divorce, Loni could have retreated from public life. Many celebrities in her position would have hidden away, licked their wounds, and tried to avoid the spotlight. But that wasn't Loni's style. She had survived small-town expectations, Hollywood rejection, and media scrutiny. She wasn't about to give up now. She continued acting, taking roles in television movies and guest spots on popular shows. While they weren't as high-profile as WKRP, they showed her range as an actress. She played dramatic roles, comedic parts, and even tried her hand at producing. But perhaps more importantly, she focused on being a mother. Raising Quentin away from the constant media attention became her priority. She wanted him to have as normal a childhood as possible, despite having famous parents and growing up in Hollywood. Loni also had a daughter, Deirdre, from her first marriage to Bruce Hasselberg, which lasted from 1964 to 1966. Balancing motherhood with career demands wasn't easy, especially when every parenting choice was potentially front-page news. She found love again with musician Bob Flick, whom she married in 2008. This relationship was different, quieter, more private, built on mutual respect rather than media attention. They seemed to understand each other in a way that allowed both to maintain their individual identities while building something together. Their courtship was deliberately kept away from the public eye. Having learned from her previous high-profile relationship, Loni was determined to protect this new love from the pressures that had contributed to her earlier heartbreak. Bob Flick, a founding member of the folk group The Brothers Four, understood the entertainment industry, but wasn't seeking the spotlight himself. The wedding ceremony was small and intimate, attended only by close family and friends. Instead of the media circus that had surrounded her previous marriage, this celebration focused on the commitment two mature adults were making to each other. Both Loni and Bob had been married before and understood the work required to make a relationship succeed. Bob brought stability and understanding to Loni's life in ways that surprised even her closest friends. He supported her career without trying to compete with it, encouraged her family relationships, and provided the kind of steady partnership she had always wanted but never quite found. Their age and experience allowed them to skip the drama and focus on building a genuine partnership. This marriage also gave Loni a chance to blend families successfully. Bob had children from his previous marriage, and together they created a welcoming environment for all their children and grandchildren. Family gatherings became joyful occasions where Hollywood glamour mixed with down-to-earth family values. As the years passed, a different side of Loni began to emerge. In 1995, Loni published her autobiography, My Life in High Heels. The book was more than just celebrity gossip. It was an honest look at what it meant to be a woman in Hollywood, the challenges of balancing career and family, and the reality behind the glamorous image. She wrote about the pressure to always look perfect, the difficulty of being taken seriously as an actress when you're considered a sex symbol, and the personal cost of living your life in public. The book showed a side of Loni that fans had rarely seen: vulnerable, thoughtful, and surprisingly wise. She had 4 grandchildren from her 2 children. Becoming a grandmother brought new joy to her life. She could spoil her grandchildren, watch them grow, and enjoy family moments without cameras recording every second. In her later years, Loni became more selective about her public appearances. She valued her privacy and chose projects that meant something to her, rather than just taking whatever paid the most. She had learned the difference between being famous and being fulfilled. She also became an advocate for various causes, using her celebrity status to bring attention to issues she cared about. While she never sought the spotlight for these efforts, she understood that her name could help raise awareness and funds for important work. But even as she found peace, her body began to betray her, fighting behind closed doors. The later years of Loni's life weren't just about quiet retirement and family gatherings. Like many people her age, she faced health challenges that she kept largely private. The woman who had always appeared so strong and vibrant was dealing with issues that reminded her of her own mortality. Those close to her noticed changes. She became more selective about public appearances, not just out of preference for privacy, but because some days were harder than others. The energy that had once seemed endless was now something she had to carefully manage and preserve for the things that mattered most. The health challenges she faced were kept largely private, but they were significant enough to change her daily routine and long-term plans. Friends noticed she moved more carefully, tired more easily, and had to cancel appearances that she would have previously attended without question. Yet she faced these limitations with the same grace she had shown throughout her career. Despite her physical struggles, Loni's mind remained sharp and her sense of humor intact. She could still deliver perfectly timed jokes and offer wise advice to family and friends who sought her counsel. Her experience had taught her to find joy in small moments and to appreciate the simple pleasures that had once been overshadowed by career demands. During this period, she also became more reflective about her legacy. She spent time organizing personal papers, photographs, and mementos from her career. She wanted to ensure that her children and grandchildren would have tangible reminders of her journey and the lessons she had learned along the way. Her family became her primary focus during these years. She spent countless hours with her grandchildren, passing on stories and wisdom that only someone who had lived through Hollywood's golden age could share. These were legacy moments, times when she could ensure that her values and experiences would live on through the next generation. Despite her health struggles, Loni maintained the grace and humor that had defined her throughout her career. Friends who visited her during this time spoke of a woman who could still light up a room with her smile, who could still deliver a perfectly timed joke, even when she was clearly not feeling her best. She also used this time for reflection. The woman who had lived such a public life finally had the privacy to look back on everything she had accomplished, everything she had survived, and everything she had learned. It was during these quiet moments that the true measure of her strength became clear. Loni Anderson, the beloved actress best known for her role on WKRP in Cincinnati, has died just one day before her 80th birthday. News of her passing emerged recently, with her publicist confirming she died following a prolonged illness at a hospital in Los Angeles. The news came as a shock to fans who remembered her as the vibrant, larger-than-life Jennifer Marlowe. Loni Anderson, who played the savvy, high-heeled receptionist Jennifer Marlowe on WKRP in Cincinnati, died on Sunday, according to the AP. She was 79. Ms. Anderson died at a Los Angeles hospital following a prolonged illness, according to her longtime publicist, Cheryl J. Kagan. Her family issued a statement that read, "We are heartbroken to announce the passing of our dear wife, mother, and grandmother." The timing was particularly poignant, passing away just one day before what would have been her 80th birthday on August 5th. It was as if she had held on as long as she could, surrounded by the people she loved most. Her death marked the end of an era. She was one of the last connections to a time when television was different, when sitcoms could create characters that became cultural icons, when actors could become household names through a single role that defined not just their careers, but an entire generation's understanding of what it meant to be both beautiful and brilliant. Looking back at Loni Anderson's life, it's easy to focus on the glamour, the marriages, the headlines, but that misses the real story of what she accomplished and why she mattered. Loni Anderson was the radiant force behind Jennifer Marlowe, the elegant, fiercely intelligent receptionist on WKRP in Cincinnati. More than just eye candy, Anderson brought nuance, wit, and warmth to a role that defined her career and shaped how television portrayed women. In an era when female characters were often written as either helpless victims or one-dimensional love interests, Loni created Jennifer Marlowe as something different. She was beautiful, yes, but she was also the smartest person in every room. She commanded respect not through anger or aggression, but through competence and confidence. This was revolutionary for its time. Jennifer Marlowe proved that you could be glamorous and intelligent, that taking pride in your appearance didn't mean you couldn't also be the most capable person at your job. She paved the way for countless other characters who would follow in her high-heeled footsteps. But beyond the character, Loni herself showed what it meant to survive in Hollywood while maintaining your dignity. She faced public humiliation during her divorce, media scrutiny of every life choice, and the constant pressure to remain relevant in an industry that often discards women once they reach a certain age. Yet, she persevered. She continued working, continued growing as both an artist and a person, and found happiness on her own terms. She proved that there was life after being a sex symbol, that actresses could age gracefully while still being talented and relevant. The final curtain may have fallen, but her impact will endure. A legacy, written in laughter and love. WKRP in Cincinnati aired from 1978 to 1982 and was set in a flagging Ohio radio station trying to reinvent itself with rock music. The cast included Gary Sandy, Tim Reed, Howard Hesseman, Frank Bonner, and Jan Smithers, alongside Anderson as the beautiful and smart Jennifer Marlowe. The show was about more than just comedy. It was about people finding their place in a changing world, about underdogs trying to make it, about the power of believing in yourself, even when nobody else does. Loni's character embodied all of these themes while wearing designer outfits and never having a hair out of place. Her co-stars remembered her as professional, funny, and surprisingly down-to-earth despite her glamorous image. She could deliver a punchline with perfect timing, but she could also listen to someone's problems and offer genuine advice. She understood that being part of a television family meant supporting everyone, not just looking good on camera. The show's fans never forgot her. Even decades after the last episode aired, people would recognize her on the street and thank her for creating a character that had meant something to them. Jennifer Marlowe was an inspiration for women who wanted to be taken seriously without giving up their femininity. Loni's personal story was just as inspiring. She overcame a difficult childhood, navigated the treacherous waters of Hollywood, survived very public heartbreak, and emerged stronger. She showed that it was possible to reinvent yourself, to find love again, to build a life based on your own values rather than other people's expectations. Her 4 marriages might have made headlines, but they also showed a woman who never gave up on love, who believed that happiness was possible even after disappointment. Her dedication to her children and grandchildren proved that family could be the foundation that kept you grounded, even when the world tried to knock you down. Throughout her decades in the spotlight, Loni Anderson became more than just an actress. She became a teacher, though she probably never intended to take on that role. Every challenge she faced, every triumph she celebrated, and every mistake she made became a lesson for others watching from afar. She taught young actresses that talent mattered more than appearance, even in an industry obsessed with looks. She showed them that it was possible to age gracefully while still being relevant and respected. Her career proved that longevity came not from trying to stay young forever, but from growing as a person and an artist. For women outside of Hollywood, she demonstrated something equally important. She showed that it was okay to be proud of your appearance while also being proud of your mind. She proved that femininity and strength weren't opposites, that you could wear high heels and still command a boardroom, that beauty and intelligence could coexist perfectly. Her personal struggles taught different lessons. Her public divorce showed that even the most glamorous relationships required work and sometimes ended despite everyone's best efforts. Her ability to rebuild her life afterward showed that failure wasn't final, that heartbreak wasn't permanent, and that it was always possible to start over. Perhaps most importantly, she taught people that authenticity was the most attractive quality of all. Despite all the pressure to be perfect, to never show weakness, to always have the right answer, Loni remained genuinely herself. She could be vulnerable in interviews. Honest about her mistakes, and real about her struggles while still maintaining the dignity that made her a role model. Anderson died on August 3, 2025, following a prolonged illness at the age of 79. The woman who had brought so much joy to television audiences who had made millions laugh and feel good about themselves, was gone. But death cannot erase the impact she made. Somewhere, right now, someone is watching reruns of WKRP in Cincinnati and discovering Jennifer Marlowe for the first time. They're seeing a female character who is complex, intelligent, and unapologetically confident. They're learning that you don't have to choose between being beautiful and being smart, between being feminine and being strong. Her autobiography continues to inspire women who are navigating their own challenges in careers, relationships, and self-acceptance. Her story reminds them that setbacks are not endings, that public failure doesn't define your worth, and that it's never too late to find happiness on your own terms. The entertainment industry she helped shape continues to evolve, with new actresses building on the foundation she helped create. Every strong female character who refuses to be underestimated, every woman who insists on being taken seriously regardless of how she looks, owes something to the path Loni Anderson helped carve. Her family, friends, and fans will remember different things about her. Some will remember the laughter she brought to their living rooms every week. Others will remember her grace under pressure during difficult times. Still others will remember her kindness, her professionalism, or her ability to make everyone around her feel important. But perhaps the most important thing to remember is that Loni Anderson proved that you could be exactly who you wanted to be, regardless of what anyone else thought. In a world that constantly tried to put her in a box, she insisted on being a complete person. She was beautiful, yes, but she was also funny, smart, resilient, loving, and real. She faced the same struggles we all face, but she faced them with courage and dignity. She showed that it was possible to survive fame without losing yourself, to endure public scrutiny without becoming bitter, to find joy even after sorrow. The golden-haired girl from Minnesota who dreamed of making people laugh accomplished more than she probably ever imagined. She created a character that will live forever in television history. She survived and thrived in one of the world's most challenging industries. She raised children, found love multiple times, and built a life that was rich in relationships and meaning. Most importantly, she showed that behind every beautiful face could be a brilliant mind, a brave heart, and an unbreakable spirit. That lesson will outlive any sitcom, any headline, any Hollywood story. Loni Anderson's journey from small-town Minnesota to television immortality reminds us that true beauty comes from living life on your own terms, facing challenges with grace, and never apologizing for being exactly who you are. Her legacy lives on in every woman who refuses to be underestimated, and every person who believes that laughter and love can overcome any obstacle. What aspects of Loni's remarkable life inspire you the most? Share your thoughts and memories in the comments below.